Ready. Play.
All right. Next up is two much more established names on the tour, I would argue, in Denis Shapovalov and Marton Fucsovics. Now, Fucsovics, by the way, talking about establishing themselves on the tour. I mean, he's 33 years old, so that's part of my thinking behind the guy. He's also Fucsovics. He's also the guy that was 2-0 up on Yannick Sinner 2 years ago in Australia. And he's a guy who's also still in action in Winston-Salem, who's winning matches. So, yeah.
Yeah, semifinals in Winston-Salem already. He's going to play Korda. I think they played at the US Open, actually, Korda and Fucsovics 2 years ago, and also in Winston-Salem, so they have a bit of a rematch there. Yeah, I mean, Shapo this season obviously has had a number of very successful runs, especially Dallas and Los Cabos, but at the same time, the slams, like losing to Navona at Wimbledon, for example. Roland Garros, I just remember everybody was thinking that, oh no, he's always that consistent there. He definitely gets to play Novak and he's probably a threat. But, Filip Misolic was pretty insane at the time, so I didn't really consider it that bad of a loss. But yeah, I mean, he's still the fun mess that we've always watched him be, right? 15 double faults every single match. Absolutely no tactics, just zero strategy, but he definitely zeroes in on the ball and just tries to go for it. So yeah, this is pretty funky. I don't really know their matchup history, to be honest. So I wonder how that looks like. Have they played them hard or have they played them hard or?
One is in Belgrade and Stuttgart, Dubai, Australian Open as well of 2020, which went the way of Fucsovics.
Talking of close every time. I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah, it does. Talking of Australian Open and Shapo, I feel like that loss to Nadal and that he beats Zverev. And then he's in a fifth set against Rafa Nadal. And I'm thinking, Shapo might win the Australian Open. And yet it doesn't feel like we've been close ever since, really. And maybe never get that close again.
Might not. I remember reading a tweet like maybe a few months ago when somebody said that the Wimbledon semifinal against Novak just kind of like ended his career. I really
that was the year
disagree
before,
on this.
21,
Yeah, but I disagree on this pretty hard. I don't see what changed in Shapovalov's career post that match. Like, it's really only that injury last year that kind of like forced him to go obviously down in the rankings a bit. Then he struggled to get back up there. Like Dallas this year, he probably played some of his best tennis ever. But yeah, to do it at a slam stage, we haven't really seen it in a while. And Nadal felt very, very vulnerable there in the opening set. I mean, the opening games of the fifth set, so... I don't know. I don't think he would have won the event against Medvedev.
I think he would have had a good chance to beat Berrettini, but I think he'd lost to Medvedev, yeah.
Yeah, probably. But certainly we kind of missed that Denis Shapovalov was actually a factor at slams from time to time.
Also did a racket smash on match point when he loses that match to Rafa. Rafa is obviously really elated to get through to the fifth round, and he's looking up at his team, and he's obviously just unbelievably happy. But even Rafa takes a moment to just realize that there's a racket smash. So midway through his celebration, you just see him stop and then go back to the celebration. It's quite amusing. You don't see too many racket smashes on match point, but Denis knew it that day that was there for him. And I think even the match point was a unforced error that just didn't need to be made. And there was a few in that fifth set, especially with Rafa so vulnerable. Rafa did serve well, but in the fifth, but still. Anyway, that's 3 years ago, or 3.5 years ago. This one, you feel as though this is another one that could be on court 14 and at 3-all in the fifth, right?
Why not? Yeah, Fucsovics definitely has a pretty smart game, great slice. Yeah,
this Winston-Salem run is making me think, though. I think if it wasn't for that and winning matches there, I mean, I think there's always a, dare I say, slight asterisk with some of these tournaments the week before a slam, and you often see them go out first round. But winning matches is decent, and it's also good to do it in North America ahead of the US Open. So that, otherwise, I think I would lean more heavily to Shapo. I'm still going to
think it makes me like Fucovic's chances less.
Really, yeah?
I don't know. Yeah, I just feel like he's going to play super well in Winston-Salem, but then show up at the slam and just not do much.
We see that a lot.
But maybe. I mean, I don't know. It looks pretty wild either way because it's Shapovalov.
Indeed. All right, I'm still just going to lean Shapo, but I think it might well go the distance. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.